always miscommunication about what's supposed to be in the box.
It's awful. I think the takeaway is advocate and have empathy.
Yes.
Good morning, guys. We just got a courier package. Mary's out on the back deck. She'll be excited to know that this arrived. Oh my, what is going on out here? Excuse me? What's going on out here? Did you guys catch that before the camera died? Mary and, not Ollie, Harry, were out in my new grass.
I'm sorry. He escaped and I had to go get him.
And then you let him kind of explore the perimeter of the yard. Well, what I was going to say and what I was going out there to tell Mary was her IVIG finally arrived.
I literally had nightmares about this last night.
Oh, that's the...
I mean, I dealt with it all day yesterday, even till late at night, dealing with getting emails and...
like basically them not getting you the drug.
Me doing their job.
Yep.
And you guys understand that because you guys, many of you also either have children and you know that you have to do the job sometimes. Because so basically here's what would have happened. If I didn't make the calls, my infusion would have gotten canceled today because the drug didn't get here in time. And then my nurse would have had to have figured out another place for me to fit. And then I would have to,
which messes up her weekly schedule and all the details.
And she happened to have one extra, whatever. It's just like, anyway. So I called first thing this morning. My nurse is coming at 2 p.m. I don't have the drug yet. I can come pick it up if I have to. And they were really sweet today. I don't know if I was talking to the wrong people all week. Like last week I tried to contact the whole thing. You guys know.
Yeah.
But I dreamed that a different nurse came. And she was nice. But I realized when she got here I hadn't accessed my port yet. And if you guys know me, I've had a port for my first port for 10 years and this one for maybe 6 years or something like that. And I've never once had a port infection. And I attribute that partially to the fact that we do all my port care. We know what two hands have done the sterile procedures on my port. And so that's what we feel most comfortable with. And so in my dream, I hadn't done that yet, and I was afraid the nurse was going to say she had to do it. And in my dream, I started crying. I was just like, oh, I'm so stressed. But in real life, I hadn't heard back from my original contact who usually does IVIG, my shipments and stuff. It's literally So the local branch that's 20 minutes away from us are not the people who set up my shipments. The people in Chicago, literally, they send me to Chicago phone number to call about my shipments, and then the Chicago people tell the people 20 minutes away what to put in the box. There's always miscommunication about what's supposed to be in the box.
It's awful.
When I Googled this local branch this morning, on Google, they have...
reviews? I'm guessing they...
I would happen to agree with the reviews and the number of stars. Now, I'll say it this way. There's no perfect medical system, home care company, hospital system, doctor's office. There's no perfect system. One person is going to have a 5 out of 5 star review. The next person's going to have 0 out of 5 stars. One day, and every single company, every single company, organization, doctor's office, there are top-notch people at this local branch. My home nurse, I have to say, is the best home nurse I've ever interacted with. I am so thankful for her. And then the people in the office, I'm sure they're awesome people. It's just a matter of who did I get transferred to? Is that person really the person who should be helping me? Or am I talking to the wrong person? In which case, there's gonna get lines crossed. So basically all of this to say, I'm not saying that the people at a local home care place are good or bad at their job necessarily. It's that there are so many lines of communication going on, and one person, this is in combination with the fact that I've had headaches daily because I'm missing my medication, which they told me was approved.
This is the same company working on that medication as well.
But different branch, because it's not IVIG, it's a different. So I literally have no idea who I'm supposed to talk to.
Here's, I think, the biggest frustration that Mary and I face with medical, whether it's insurance, home care, hospital systems, doctor's offices. It's not the people themselves.
No.
Usually. Sometimes you have a bad apple.
Or like that bad apple had a bad day and therefore they're a bad apple.
And we try to remind ourselves of that if we have a bad interaction with a person. It's usually the systems that are broken.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like this home care situation, like it's a very broken system. And I think we've heard in the past that it has to do with turnover and staffing at our local place, and so then they outsource some of the jobs out to the main like corporate headquarters, and then that's part of the call this person, and then what happens is people are doing fine or trying to do fine at their job, but it's nobody's sure who's supposed to do what. And then I think what happens when the system's broken is the patients usually have a better idea of what needs to happen than the people on the phone.
A more succinct idea.
Because the patient has like the big picture and the person on the phone is like doing their job.
They can only see what's written on the screen.
And I think it's really frustrating when you're kind of treated like you don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. And
you just need to sit back and wait for them to do their job. But you can't because you have an infusion today at 2 o'clock.
Yeah. And there's that strange and impossible balance of, obviously they have a lot on their plates. My health also has a lot on its plate. And that balance of like advocating for, well, what you're scheduled for, a nursing visit in a few hours, advocating for that, but also allowing the things that you can allow to pass weeks and weeks and weeks. That's kind of what I've felt about the migraine stuff. And ultimately, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and do another month of the injection, because by the time, now I could probably sit today, tomorrow, and the next day on the phone with both insurances, with the local place, with my doctor's office. I could sit on the phone and actually figure it out if I wanted to spend hours and hours and hours waiting for callbacks. But on the other hand, I think I could just go ahead and do the migraine injection and then allow the process to take as long as it needs to, which is probably what's gonna happen. And that means whenever, but it's just, there's no perfect way for it to happen, And it's just a matter of, my main goal, like I can get all fired up off the phone, but on the phone with people to not get fired up, because like we were saying, like they are both probably overwhelmed with patients and can only do what they can do. So like this morning, I called first thing, I talked to somebody super nice at this local branch, and I was just like, could you help me? I my nurse is coming at 2 p.m. and I haven't received the drug yet. And I am happy to come pick it up if I need to, but I just need help figuring out how to get the drug so I can have my infusion. And I think that she said, oh, well, the person who does this is in Chicago. And I was like, yes, I've already tried contacting them and I'm having trouble. I'm not getting information. Is there like somebody local that I can just ask this question to? And she ended up figuring it out, and it's literally already here at my house. So just kind of saying, here's where I'm at. I've tried contacting that person, but trying not to allow my voice to get like
accusatory.
Yeah.
Or
yeah, and
like too flustered. Or,
right.
Yeah.
And it's impossible to pretend like it's not flustering. I mean, it is what it is. But I told her, I literally just woke up from a nightmare about this. I just need help.
Yeah.
And she was really sweet. I think it's also, you know, 32 years of patterns of like calling hospital systems or healthcare systems, being told, I will figure this out and call you back, and then 3 weeks later still not hearing back, and just feeling kind of burned by that. It's just tiring. It's tiring for my brain to be like, okay, I'm getting ready to be in like a Benadryl knockout, you know?
Yeah.
Super medicated from Benadryl, and I'm not going to be able to call about the migraine drug. So do I need to call anybody before I get that? And the whole thing. Yeah. And if you were here for yesterday's video, I was also just like in the midst of all this as well. So thanks for hanging in there with us.
Yeah.
It's just part of it.
It is part of it. And I think it's a hard balance. Like, I think what you're talking about is balance of letting the system be the system,
which we know inevitably people fall through the cracks in the system.
And so the balance is appreciating the systems that are in place. We have home care. We can do Mary's infusion at home. That's amazing.
Yes.
And we appreciate that, and we don't want to take that for granted. And we think healthcare here in this country is amazing.
Yes.
And we don't want to take that for granted. And in the same like breath, like Mary said, we've been burned by situation, like by trusting that to work perfectly. And so, and
it's not a perfect system, and we've been in other healthcare systems in other countries where it's also not perfect. And it's just this acknowledgement of like, it's just not gonna be perfect, and if we expect it to be perfect, we will be disappointed. And so trying to be consistent and faithful to what you need to do, like I need to make this call, I need to find out this information, and like maybe call and let them know I haven't received the medication, this or that, and then move on. But like I said, my nurse is amazing, and I'm very thankful for that. It was so interesting. So because we couldn't, at this point, we couldn't get the Vyepti, the migraine infusion for home care at this moment. I do think that will change, but who knows. My physician who's prescribing it suggested, how about you just come to the hospital infusion center and we'll do it here. And I was like, that's a great idea. Let's just do that for this time. And I called, and it's a month out. Like, they can't get me in for a month, and I'm already over a month overdue. So it's just like this. There's just, you know, you're trying, and hi, baby. Really?
Mary is an amazing advocate for herself, and like if she hadn't made that call this morning, she wouldn't have gotten the drug today.
No.
And it would not be I guarantee you it would not be scheduled to be delivered anytime soon. Because it fell through the cracks, like basically between offices. And so I think Mary's given us a helpful window today into the delicate balance of patient advocacy and the frustrations and appreciations of everything in between.
And I think that this also goes for my many times in the hospital, in many different hospital systems. Whoa, you good there, friend?
He really wants snugs.
I think he wants to go outside and explore. My time in the hospitals has taught me thoroughness is what makes the system work. And so when nurses come in and they listen to my lungs, where that nurse literally just listened to it, and it could feel really frustrating, I have to tell myself, the thoroughness is what makes the system work, and it's to help things not fall through the cracks. And stuff still falls through the cracks. And so there's this patience with the system, there's patience with the people. Just like I'm just a person and I'm gonna mess up, nurses are just people, doctors are just people, and we can't expect perfection. And yet we're working with bodies and we're working with medications that do need to be perfect in some scenarios, that a mistake could be deadly. And so that's why they scan your wristband before they put the drug on the IV pole, and it feels frustrating. And so it's, you know, this acknowledgement of everything trying to work together and people trying to do their best.
Yeah.
So if you are somebody who works in healthcare and you're trying to do your best and you get to talk to frustrated patients, I just want to tell you something. Thanks.
Yeah.
Because I literally wouldn't be here without the help of the administrators, of the people who drive the medications around, of the delivery truck drivers, of the physicians, of the nurses, etc. So thank you for dealing with frustrated patients.
Yep.
Thanks for doing your job.
I think the takeaway is advocate and have empathy.
Yes.
And as always,
good night, because I'm getting ready to go on Benadryl and IVIG.
We'll see you tomorrow, guys. Good night.
Hey, Poodle, you want to say good night? Oh my goodness, he's like melting off his bed.
Oh, you're melting off the bed. Good night, buddy.